Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to our coverage of Indy Popcon 2018. Tom, don't get hit by the thing behind you. There you go. We are hanging out with Ethan from Crankgameplays.
Hello.
And Brian, I can't ever say your name right.
Girbeagly.
Girbeagly. I always want to say Girbeagly, and I know that's wrong.
Right either. So.
And we actually had you guys. We talked to you last year for a little bit of our panel, kind of talking about what it's like to be a small YouTuber and how to overcome that. A year later, you're back. Welcome back. You are actually
welcome
doing.
back to you.
Well, thank you. It's exciting. You guys are on the main stage this year. Can we talk about kind of what the feeling is about that?
Do you want to go first?
I mean, we both kind of have the same thoughts. It's like really
What do we do?
surreal. Yeah. It's one of the, like we were just talking about, it doesn't really change from like the first year we were here together doing like our very first panel. We had like a room of what, 200 people? Was that?
I don't even think it was 200. I think it was like 125.
If it's the same size as the one we were in last year, it's about 100 to 125.
Okay, yeah.
If it's that
same
same room.
Yeah. So that was like really cool, and that was like for your first panel, it's one of those moments where you're like, holy cow, there's
people
so
here.
many.
There's anyone here at all.
But I think like going out onto the main stage, it didn't feel much different than that. It's still that like excitement. It's still that like nervous anticipation. But it's still that really awesome feeling of like people came out to see me, so I need to entertain them. I want to entertain them.
The pressure to put on a show.
So there's like the pressure, but at the same time, like the excitement overcomes that. So we though are the type of people where it's like 5 minutes before the show, and we're like, yeah, Q&A.
Let's make everybody. Let's make everybody do the hokey pokey.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really weird, like, thinking back to, like, even the first year that I came to PopCon, because the first time that I came was the year before you came for the first time, which was, I guess this
is only 5 years old.
Yeah,
which is nutso.
I think this is my fourth PopCon then.
This is my third.
This is my third.
Yeah, so this is my fourth PopCon. And so, like, the first time that I came, like, I wasn't even, like, a YouTube person back then, so I was just coming for the convention.
You were a fan back
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
And so now coming back and like being able to like not only do panels at all, but also doing stuff on the main stage is so weird. And it's like, why does anyone show up at all? It's so odd. Also, like branching off of what Brian said, we don't know what we're doing ever either. And so it's like, oh no, this is a train wreck.
People are always like, the panel went so well, and we're like, oh,
Did
good.
it? Okay.
It's like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So, PopCon, you said it's your fourth year.
Yeah.
What brings you back every year?
I really love like the people here, and it's fun coming back to like something that's a little bit smaller as well, because like going to the PAX events and stuff, it's really cool, but it's very huge and overwhelming, and it's just a lot. And so coming to sort of like a smaller town convention is really nice. You get to see more people, and then just like seeing friends every year is super fun.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like what Ethan said. It's a lot more intimate. Like
the fact that you can just walk around. I'm sure you can't do that at PAX.
Yeah, it's amazing because I think there's a good blend of things to do, like merch booths and exhibitors and stuff, and like events, like going to panels. But we definitely get that fan aspect as well of like meeting people in our community. And I know for me at least, like the only reason I go to conventions at all is to meet like people who make up my community, so I can be like, thank you for supporting me and letting me do these kinds of things. So it's really cool.
So we got to talk about it because you mentioned it beforehand. I'm gonna leave you out. Are you an Overwatch fan? Overwatch League fan?
I'm an Overwatch League fan.
Do you care to say who you cheer for?
I don't watch Overwatch League all that much. So when I originally like started watching Overwatch League more was at the World Cup last year at BlizzCon, and it was so cool and it was so intense. And I was there in person, and it was like, this is awesome.
Isn't that arena?
So
that
cool.
arena is nasty looking. I want to go there.
So cool.
I want to go there.
It's so cool as well because it's just this circle of people screaming, and they're all in the center, gaming their hearts out, and it was so much fun. It's so cool to be there in person, and I live in LA, so I get to go to the actual.
It's not that far
Overwatch.
for you.
Yeah, and so going to the matches there has been really, really cool, and it's nice now that like it's becoming more of a mainstream thing, and gaming isn't like this weird thing anymore, and it's becoming more mainstream and more respected.
Toyota's sponsoring the Overwatch League, which is weird.
It's really cool to see, though.
Yeah. So, you're an Overwatch League fan.
I sure am.
Who is your favorite team?
Well, being a Korean from New York, I have to be an NYXL fan, 100%. I'm sorry. Hey, I can admit Fusion is a very, very good team.
When they're on, they're amazing.
When they're on, they're
When they're
amazing.
off, they're not so good.
I like the tank and DPS rotation they got right now.
Hotba and Sato?
Sato. Sato being in has helped you guys out a lot. Yeah.
Poor Fraggy.
Yeah. Poor Fraggy.
And Shadowburn. He's kind of just disappeared.
He hasn't really played much since stage 2.
Well, when EQO got hurt, he came back in. But
oh,
look, it's our other friends.
Hi, other friends.
1,000 faces over there.
I just feel bad for Shanghai.
Dude, I thought they were going to win yesterday.
Oh, my God. I was sitting there rooting for them. I almost had a heart attack during that match.
Dude,
I was like, this is the one.
This is it.
This is the one Geggery gets her first win.
And then Gibraltar happened. I was like, once they lost Gibraltar, I was like, they just lost it. Like, I had a feeling, I was like, it's game over at that point.
Questionable play choices. Makes me so sad every time.
Do you learn anything from watching Overwatch League? Because I've learned, like, positioning and stuff like that. I'm not an intense gamer.
I've learned how much more of a horrible gamer I am.
Amen.
I'm like, wow, I've really it's pretty obvious.
You play on PC, right?
Yeah.
Both of you?
And I'm just like, wow, like I know that I'm bad, but whenever I see any professional players play, I'm like, oh, I'm really bad.
When you see, there's times where a Widowmaker will get a headshot that I didn't even see the head sticking out.
Yeah.
And then they'll throw the replay.
It was
the
most insane thing seeing Flower play at the World Cup last year and seeing him play Widowmaker. I was like, this is amazing. It was so cool.
Just like, how?
And guess which team he's going to join.
Boo.
Yeah.
How old is he? Not old enough? Is that what's happening?
He was on their academy team XL2.
Gotcha.
And it's only because he was just sitting on the bench of NYXL being like, I'm not old enough.
Because I know for us, we were waiting on Snillo to get old enough. Which is weird because these are all like 16, 17-year-olds. You're like,
I feel very old watching Overwatch League.
I'm not that old.
My plan is to get good enough because I'm an Overwatch tryhard. I've been playing since closed beta. I've been watching professional Overwatch since Apex was like a big thing. So like when they changed it over to contenders, I was like, it's not even different. It's cool watching the academy teams. But like, for me, I'm in my 30s, so I'm like, I want to get on a contenders team and be the oldest Overwatch League player ever. That's my claim to fame. We're doing it.
You're like, I don't even want to play. I just want to be on the team.
Yeah, I can be benched the whole season, but I want a contract and an official jersey.
There you go. So what are you guys looking forward to at the con this year? Is there anybody in particular you guys are looking forward to?
Well, we were just talking about Overwatch, so I'm very excited to meet like Carolina Ravassa, who does Sombra's voice, and Lucy Pohl, who does Mercy's voice. Yeah, so very excited for that. We always like meet really cool creators and stuff and vendors and
just running around.
Yeah,
find cool people.
It's really neat.
I'm just excited to see people again. I don't know. It's always cool getting to come to a convention and just like meet so many people. Not only like other people that are in the industry or whatever, but also like meeting a bunch of people that watch our videos and stuff for whatever reason. I don't know why they keep watching. But yeah, it's always just really cool meeting them in person because like seeing people like tweet us or leave comments or whatever, you always see their icon and their username, but then like having the face to match that up with, it's so cool. It's just like, oh, I know who you are. It's awesome. It's really cool.
So how did you two meet each other? How did this love affair come about?
We met at PAX East 2014 or 2015. I guess it was 2015. I guess. Yeah, we met there.
Was it love at first sight?
Was it?
Uh-oh.
I think
it wasn't.
I literally think like I met you there because that was back when I think I was like 16 or 17, and I grew up. No, I'm 21.
You were a little bab.
I was born in 1996.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm in my 30s, so it makes me feel like a babysitter sometimes.
What year were you born, Tom? 82. Tom was 82.
Yeah, I'm 85, so like, yeah. But that's like the thing. So we were, it was back when we were fans of much larger YouTubers, and he was kind of following around one, and I was following around another. And they had a booth on the floor that we got sort of like special access to because we were hanging out with groups of people. And
you knew somebody who knew somebody.
Yeah. And I was just kind of like hanging out there, like talking to people, and all of a sudden I felt a little tap on my shoulder. Hi, I'm Ethan. And
tickling his balls.
That's exactly what it
little tickly
he was like,
there.
Ooh, Spidey senses.
I was like, wow, this is the way to get in with me.
Yeah. No, I awkwardly went up to Brian because he was like the only one there that I didn't know, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Ethan," and that was back when I was still in high school. So my dad had driven me down to PAX.
Yeah,
my dad was just like hanging out in the back, and I was like, "Yeah, this is my dad."
Yep.
Dad's
a cool guy though. So
that's how we met, and then I think literally. Later, weren't you like, man, I wish this kid would stop DMing me on Twitter?
Well, it was like, so later that night, it was probably like 1 in the morning, and you had just randomly started DMing me, and I was like, I just really want to sleep.
Yeah.
I want to go to bed. So that's kind of like how it started off, but because of that sort of, I guess, foot in the door of the friendship, we expanded it from there. We just started talking about our ideals and like why we looked up to the creators we did, like why we wanted to get into YouTube in the first place, and we kind of just like lined up like naturally.
Honestly, I don't even remember like the first conversation that we had after that.
No.
Like I don't remember becoming friends with you.
No, I don't
it's
either.
Just like
that's the
it
weird
went
part.
from meeting you to like being best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very weird how that happens. I don't know.
So, I have to ask you because you've been on large YouTuber channels. How did that come to be? Is it just kind of happenstance, kind of like this? Because from what I've learned, is it just is again, you know somebody who knows somebody, or somebody invites somebody to something else.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always like
I'm not going to name drop because a lot of people know.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like
who are they?
I think there's always that weird thing that people who haven't like worked with larger YouTubers, it's always like, oh, how do you like get into that circle or whatever? And it's like, well, it's like being friends with somebody, and like because my sort of thing as well is like, and this is like kind of how we both go around, because a lot of people ask us if we want to make videos with them and stuff, and it's like, well, we really only make videos with our friends because there have been times like when we were starting where I would make a video with somebody after not talking to them at all, and I was just like, yeah, let's make a video.
The chemistry is way off.
Way off because you don't know each other at all, and it's like super awkward. And so it's like, yeah, we just make videos with our friends, and so after a while, I just became friends with people who happened to be bigger, and then
your friends just happen to do cool shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Or they blew up over time.
Yeah.
Like when we met, it was around the time you were ready to restart your channel. Yeah. And so like for the longest time, like the first PopCon we attended together, Ethan was actually a smaller channel than me. And I was the one like being like, hey, check out my friend, Ethan on Crankgameplays. And then he just happened to get
exploded.
Huge. Yeah. And so it's like really weird because like now we have people who are like, oh yeah, it must be weird being friends with Ethan, and I'm like, no, it's not at all.
Nothing's changed
because nothing has changed but the numbers.
Yeah.
So they changed you. They changed you.
He's so famous now.
What is it? I feel like this is weird based on the conversation we just had. But what's it like walking around a con and where people are coming up and knowing who you are without you knowing who they are, without having the screen name? Like, oh, you're so and so.
It's a lot less weird now. I remember the first time, especially the first time that I got noticed not at a con, was super weird. I was just like,
was it an interesting place?
I was just at Target, and I was carrying a microwave, and this girl came up and she's like, "Are you Ethan?" And I was like, "Yeah, hi. How do you know me?"
Target is the place
weird.
to go. I met Dee Snider from Twisted Sister in Target.
There's always people at Target.
So there's always somebody in Target.
Yeah,
if
you want to meet someone, go to Target.
Go to Target.
Not endorsed.
Yeah, not sponsored.
Yeah, I wish. That'd be awesome.
No, it's not as weird anymore.
Especially at cons, because you kind of assume you come to expect it.
Yeah, and that's like kind of the reason that we come now is to meet people. Right. But the first times, like going to cons and getting recognized was definitely a weird thing. I remember like the first time I got noticed by like a larger amount of people, I was like, wow, 20 people came up to me over the course of the weekend, and like, yeah, it's interesting, definitely like coming year after year, just how it grows every time, and.
And now you're the big. Now you're on the main stage.
It's so.
Have you seen how big the main stage is? Not to freak you out. Okay.
No, yeah, we did it last year.
Oh, cool.
So it's like very intimidating.
Yes.
Extremely intimidating.
I was intimidated by the medium stage. Like, oh god.
Well, that's how it's like. Anytime like a panel happens, you're just like, people are. I don't know.
Nobody's
gonna
show
this is
up.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Take away all but one seat, and that's for my mom. No one else is gonna show up.
My mom, maybe a mod who's at the con with us in the friends.
Yeah. I don't know.
So.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, in the beginning, it is very surreal. It's still surreal because you're like, I'm just a regular guy.
I talked to a camera.
Yeah, exactly. I went to the dollar store last week to buy hot dogs. Like, I'm not special. So it's always very, very interesting to like meet anyone in any sort of capacity who like is aware of who you are, because the internet is so big and there are so many creators doing so many cool things that. For me, I know I'm like, why are you wasting your time watching my stuff? But
the best is when you're drunk and people are watching you. You're like, what is happening?
No, that's the worst. That's the worst. Yeah. I know for me, my very first time I ever got noticed was the PAX East we met. Actually, I was hanging out with another much larger creator.
That's the first time that I got noticed too.
Yeah. It was a good con. But I remember sitting next to this bigger creator, and someone came up. Like, there's these kids standing off to the side, and they're like, "Oh, I think that's him." And I just assumed it was for assumed it was for my friend.
Yeah.
And then they like came up, and they were like, "Are you Girbeagly? Can I have an autograph?" And I was like, "Ah, it's so cute."
Wait, you're like, who?
Yeah. You said his name wrong.
Yeah. Got it. So. One final thing, when it comes to YouTube, and one of the things we kind of have is we call it our Metacast, where we do an indie game podcast, we do a VR game podcast, and then we do a podcast about being YouTubers and content creators.
Yeah.
What is one thing you would tell somebody when it comes to making content? Like, I know it's a very generic question, but advice or something like that you would say, hey, if you're going into content creation, here's something you either look out for, something I recommend you do. I know it's a very big question.
I gotta think. All right, yeah.
I gotta think.
My biggest thing, and this is also very generic, but don't look at the numbers. Like, that's the biggest thing.
I used to fret over those.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is so many people drive themselves insane being like, I'm not growing this week. And it's like, yeah,
Don't
you might
do it. It'll literally make you depressed.
Yeah, it will make you very sad.
Fun
because
fact,
you're not going to grow every week. That's just the harsh reality. Like, not every week's going to be a good week. Not every week people will like the things you put up or create. Like, just because you're passionate about it doesn't automatically mean other people will also be passionate about it. But that doesn't mean that's not going to happen at some point. The biggest thing I always remind people of is once you've uploaded it on YouTube or have a VOD on Twitch or something like that, like, people can still find that. So just because it didn't blow up or do as expected that week doesn't mean that, like, down the line, someone who's like super passionate about that won't find that. When you're making content, like, the whole idea of content creation is you started because you were passionate about that thing. So keep being passionate about that thing. Like, don't mind the numbers. Those will come over time. That's just naturally how things happen.
Have fun with it.
The people who are meant to find you will find you. But they're not going to find you if you half-ass stuff and are just like,
if you're doing it for the views,
right,
you're not going to have a good time.
Exactly.
Not going to have a good time.
People can see that. Like, yeah, you can edit things down and make it look like you're super excited, but ultimately,
not in a live stream.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be transparent at some point, and people will be able to pick that apart.
Yeah.
So be you. Just do the thing you like doing. That's my number one piece of advice. Just keep going at it.
Yeah, I think it's important to branch off what you just said about, like, don't be fake, because people can tell when you're having a good time. Because, like, in my case, for example, I play video games.
Really?
For videos. I'm not good at them at all. And so when, like, people ask me about my channel and they don't really know, like, what I do, they're like, "Oh, you must be really good at video games then." And I'm like, "Nope." And they're like, "Well, why do they watch?" And it's like, because I am having fun. And, like,
I'm having fun, and I might do something stupid.
Yeah, and, like, if you're having fun, then someone else is going to be having a good time watching you have fun. If you're sitting there being super fake and, like, trying to force stuff, people are going to be able to easily read that, and they're not going to enjoy it. So that's another thing too. Start for the right reasons. It's as much as I like Twitch and YouTube blowing up more and getting bigger and a little bit more mainstream or whatever, it is sad seeing people go to YouTube because they're like, "Oh, I'm going to get super rich and famous."
Yep,
and it's like, well, first of all, probably not. And second of all, like, don't start for that reason.
Yes.
Start because you want to make cool shit. And, like, if you're passionate about what you do and you're making cool shit and you're putting in the time, then that stuff may follow, but don't make that the purpose of why you're making this stuff.
One of the things we've said since day one on our channel is if we're not having fun, we either need to change something or stop.
Yep. Exactly.
That's literally every decision's come down to that. Is because you, as content creators, you do take note of things. Like for us, we found there's a niche for indie that was not filled yet. And we're like, okay, let's help these indie developers. We go to these cons and indie developers like, I don't know how to get in touch with content creators. I don't know where to do. And I was like, let me help you find where to go and help content creators find you. And then the other thing I want to say along the lines which you both said there, I went to the Jacksepticeye How Did We Get Here tour Friday. That's some dude. He's some small dude. Yeah. But one of the things he said that kind of stuck with me at the end of, I went to the Q&A. At the end of the Q&A was, if you don't go to imitate, go to innovate. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to happiness. If you're trying to, if I'm making a channel going to imitate what you're doing, I'm probably not going to have as much fun because I'm trying to be you, not being me. Exactly. So that stuck with me.
Just to branch off that a little bit more as well, like, don't get impatient. Like, I know that's so hard to do.
So hard
patience
to do.
is a virtue for a reason, but like, some people expect the overnight thing to happen. Like, they expect to like have the best quality. Like, oh, this isn't working. So why is it not working right away? Because it might not. It took me. It's sort of like what you said with the imitation thing. I started off trying to be like the other content creators I saw.
Because that's what you know.
And, and you can see that in my earlier content. And going back and watching that, I'm like, this isn't really who I like. It's me, but it's like a weird version of me. And now I'm at the point where I'm very comfortable with who I am.
You are.
Yeah, and that's the best part is like, yeah, did it take time? Certainly. But now I feel really good about it, and I'm glad I went through those growing pains.
Your favorite overnight success was underground for like 5 years.
Exactly.
Something like along those lines. So.
And that's the thing, too, is that overnight successes don't happen. It's always like, wow, this dude blew up overnight, and it's like, actually, he's been doing shit for the past 10 years, and he just happened to have a lot of growth in a short amount of time, but he's been working at it forever.
Yes.
And that's the other thing, too, is like, we're still not good at making videos, but like, we're comfortable now, and it takes a really long time to get comfortable. And when I first started making videos, I was so awkward, and I didn't know how to talk to a camera, and it's weird because you're in a room by yourself talking to people that
aren't there. That's where the like coming to con, you said it earlier, like seeing the people's like, that's like, oh, there's people behind that lens.
And now it's almost more weird. Like, addressing a room full of people is so much more weird than talking to myself. And it's odd, but it takes a lot of time. So, So if at first it's awkward, like, don't worry. It's awkward for everyone. Awkward for everyone.
Still is.
Yeah. So, do you guys have anything else you want to share? Any plugs or anything you got coming up? Any plugs? Any charities, streams or anything?
Crankgameplays.
Yeah,
that's you, right?
Go there.
That's
Make sure to go to Girbeagly.com/Girbeagly. That's where you can find him. Right?
Go NYXL.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's nice seeing you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, welcome to the second level. Bye.
Bye.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.